The theatrical comedy is pretty much dead, and Liam Neeson is here to bring it back. And if those two sentences seem like they don't go well with each other at all, I think it'll make sense when you watch the new Naked Gun. 2025's The Naked Gun is the latest and fourth installment in the Naked Gun franchise, a series of action comedy spoof films which in and of themselves are a spin-off of Police Squad, a comedic TV show which ran for 6 episodes in the 1980s. Now, a lot of people have described this as a reboot, but that's quite inaccurate. Liam Neeson does not play Frank Drebin, but instead plays the character of Frank Drebin Jr., the son of Leslie Nielsen's character in the original films. And yes, I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact that Liam Neeson sounds an awful lot like Leslie Nielsen. Now, my dad would often have The Naked Gun on TV when I was young. That opening credits is iconic to me, so I was pretty curious to see where they would take this new film. Initially, the casting of Liam Neeson sounds like an odd fit, but when you consider it, it makes a whole lot of sense. A big part of why the original Naked Gun movies are so funny is because of how straight Leslie Nielsen played the comedy. Frank Drebin is a bumbling idiot who has no idea just how idiotic he is, so it makes sense to have someone who isn't in on the joke. I recently rewatched the first Naked Gun movie, and boy, I appreciate it way more than I used to as a little kid. That movie is just an endless barrage of visual gags, quirky humor, and yes, silly, terrible jokes, which are only funny because of how silly and terrible they are. This new installment absolutely captures that same magic, and it works not because it reinvents the wheel, but because it understands exactly what you want from this sort of movie. The Naked Gun films have always been hilarious, but one thing I wouldn't describe them as is witty. It's a franchise where the jokes work because of how audacious and absurd they are, and director Akiva Schaffer understands that fact incredibly well, using a lean, slick 85-minute runtime to deliver an endless stream of some of the most bonkers, insane jokes you will get in any modern comedy. Like, to all the people who point to something like The Office and say you couldn't make that today, this movie is good proof that you indeed can, you just have to make it good. Whether it's a visual gag, an absurd pop culture reference, or the simple idea of someone reading manslaughter as man's laughter, this movie is just packed to the brim with insane, unbelievable comedy. Comedy that only works because of Liam Neeson's commitment to playing these jokes absolutely straight. He'll be saying the most absurd thing imaginable, but he'll play it like the straight-faced character he plays in Taken, and the tension between these hilarious, absurd lines and his incredibly dramatic delivery is just fascinating to watch. Supporting characters the likes of Pamela Anderson, Paul Hauser, and Kevin Durant really do give it their all, but at the end of the day, this really is Liam Neeson's movie, and he manages to capture that deadpan brand of humor that Leslie Nielsen brought to the series, while also making it his own. Visuals are an incredibly underrated aspect of comedy. One of the few filmmakers who still understands this is Edgar Wright, who knows that a visual cue or a hilarious background gag are even more valuable than two people standing across from one another and shouting funny dialogue. The silent film era with actors like Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin, I mean, that's a perfect example of how you can get a great laugh without a single line of dialogue. And while this movie has an insane stream of hilarious dialogue, it also always complements it with a funny visual gag. I mean, there is a scene involving a car windshield that is just one of the most hilarious things you'll see all year. And it's all the more hilarious because you get to experience it in a packed theater. Laughter is a social experience. There are studies that prove you're way more likely to laugh at a joke if you're surrounded by other people than when you're alone. In the advent of the streaming era, comedies are increasingly being moved away from the big screen and onto streamers. We have a tendency to associate the big screen with big action blockbusters and visual set pieces, but The Naked Gun is a valuable reminder of a simple truth. Comedy is one of the most valuable genres to experience on the big screen, because there are few things more satisfying than sitting alongside an entire crowd and all collectively sharing in laughter. The screenplay here certainly takes a shotgun approach to the comedy, firing joke after joke at the audiences and seeing which ones land. It gives you the feel of a comedian trying out their new material on you, except this is the final product. And with that approach, you're bound to get a few stinkers. Not every joke works, and some of them definitely overstay their welcome. There's one in particular that I think went a little too far into absurdity, and for me to say that about a Naked Gun movie, you know it went really far. Like, it's the kind of joke that would genuinely only work in a cartoon. But the comedic highs here are absolutely insane. You will most certainly laugh harder watching this movie than you will watching anything else in the year, cinema or otherwise. And if a Liam Neeson led Naked Gun movie ends up being the Jesus Christ of the comedic genre, bring it on. And for that, I'm giving this one an 8 out of 10. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for weekly TV and movie reviews. And if you've had the chance to watch The Naked Gun, let us know what you thought about it in the comments below. I'm Cinemike, and I'll see you next time.